You're listening to Overthinking with Carmen, where spiraling isn't panic, it's pattern recognition. I'm your overthinker in chief, and today we've got to talk about Kanye, Yeezy. Let me start here. Kanye has made another list. No, not a playlist, not a set list, something more like a hit list. He tweeted out something that looked like it came straight out of a Game of Thrones prequel. Like, the Arya Stark list. A personal enemies list of sorts. Jay-Z and Beyonce's kids. Like, why are the children out here catching strays? Kris Jenner, Drake, again. The DA from somewhere. Taylor Swift, of course. And Adidas. Just all Adidas? Sir, what are we doing? And I preface that by saying, when Black people ask questions in that way, they're more like warning shots. It's not a question, but a call to the present moment for you. Are we all okay? What is happening? What are we doing, Kanye? Because the universe is trying to send you and us a warning to say, wait a minute, something's going wrong and we all need to be brought to the present. What are we doing? But once I get past that obvious spiral, the part where I laughed, then sighed, then refreshed the page, I sat with a deeper truth. We keep diagnosing the behavior without ever naming the void. Because it's easy to say, Kanye is off the rails. But it's harder to ask, what grief cracked him open? We forget that tragedy can activate and intensify mental illness. I think about when his mother, Donda, passed away. And I don't know him. I didn't know her. I'm not a clinician. But what I do know is grief. And I know the silence that comes when the one person who could check you, calm you, center you, is no longer here. Look at Tiger Woods. He lost his father. A few years later, all the headlines changed. People were like, what happened to Tiger Woods? He fell off. But the better question might have been, what was holding him together before? Because when the one who steadied you goes missing, the unraveling doesn't always come all at once. It's not like we bury them or have the funeral. We grieve for a few days or weeks, and then we all come back together. No. Grief is different from everyone. And sometimes it's a slow leak. Sometimes it's loud. Sometimes it's a tweet with a list. That reminds me of a moment on Iyanla. Iyanla Fix My Life. She was with the Braxton family, and Tamar Braxton was spiraling in that moment. And Iyanla did not look at her. At some point, she looked at her mother and her sisters and said, who gets to tell her? That rocked me. I remember that to this day because I see it so much in society. That question, who gets to tell her? Because we all need someone who can tell us. You're doing too much. You're not well. Sit down, come eat, be still. For me, that was my big mama. God rest her soul. My big mama knew that I wanted to learn how to cook like she did, and so she let me sit there and watch her. She didn't give instructions, you watched. And then one day, as I'd gotten older, I wanted to make her some French fries. She let me cut the potatoes. She watched, didn't say anything. I heated up the grease. I put them in the grease and, shuffled them around. When they turned this golden brown color, I removed them onto some paper towel, all the stuff. And then I walked it over to the table to her. Actually, she was sitting in her chair. And she sat there and ate them. After she ate them, she looked at me and said, come here. She handed me the plate and said, your potatoes were real pretty, but they were undercooked. Next time, cook them longer. In that moment, she told me with love, she gave me the compliment, not of just they were pretty, She ate them. She didn't have to, but that's what big mamas did. At least that's what mine did. She ate them, she complimented them, and then she gave me the critique and what to do better next time. I wasn't crushed. I wasn't upset. I was actually excited. But let's be real. We are in a famine of big mamas. There used to be women who told us the truth and loved us through it, who could hold a baby and a boundary at the same time. But now we have 60 and 70-year-olds trying to eat the girls up on TikTok. Listen, I love that you look 40. I celebrate that. I really do. But can you drop some wisdom too? If you are a big mama, because age just doesn't make you one. But if you are a big mama, I'm talking to you. Can you drop some wisdom too? Because there are babies out here, not in age, but in mindset, in heart. Babies out here making grown decisions with unhealed wounds. And no one's pulling them aside. No one's saying, enough. No one's asking, are you okay? So this isn't about Kanye's list. It's about the people we've lost, the voices we need, and the elders who no longer feel like elders because we stopped asking them to be. Disruption isn't always about burning everything down. Sometimes it's about saying, come home. No, come on back home. Come home to yourself, to your healing, to someone who loves you enough to say, baby, that ain't it. I'm Carmen Michael Smith, your overthinker in chief. Thanks for spiraling with me. And if you can, go call your big mama before she's no longer here to tell us the truth.